Hi, this is Mark here. Welcome back. This is another video for Chun Kung Fu, talking about the Wing Chun training principles, and we're going to look at the Bil Gee today. So I'll have some other videos about the mystique and mystery around Bil Gee and some of the reasons for that. But we'll just jump straight in. So the first one is the Bil Gee contains emergency techniques. This is pretty straightforward. This is pretty simple, and it's true. So the Bil Gee has a whole load of sort of little techniques, or as one of my teachers used to call them, tricks, basically, that help get you out of a bad situation when the line has been compromised, when center line has been taken and you're on the back foot. And that is the really, if you know the Bil Gee and you go up against somebody that only knows the Sulam Tao or the Chun Kill, you seem to have magic powers almost, because you have all these techniques that let you get out of bad situations, so that's part of it there. Okay, next one. Again, pretty straightforward. Iron fingers can strike a vital point at once. So the Bil Gee contains quite a lot of finger work, so training up the tendons and the striking surfaces of the fingers, either for cutting purposes or, as it's most commonly known, thrusting or piercing. So there's a couple of ideas contained in here. The first one is if you want to be able to have really good striking finger power, it requires a physical commitment to developing strength, whether it through internal or external training, or a mix of both. So you've got to do that, and the Bil Gee is one of the methods that you can develop that within the Wing Chun system. And then the next one is, the next component of this is that they can strike a vital point. So basically it's telling you that there's some conditioning exercises in this form, and also it's got a few suggestions or hints and tips in it for places to hit, which is the other thing that the Bil Gee is very good for. It's got the emergency and the recovery techniques, but it's also got the these are great places to hit techniques in there as well. Okay, next one again is again another sort of straightforward one. The stepping in elbow strike has sufficient threatening power. So this is good. Again, elbows are sort of introduced either in hidden movements in the Sulam Tao or explicitly in the Chun Kill, but they are strongly emphasized. So the ability to fold from the three joints, from the wrist to the elbow to the shoulder, is strongly emphasized in the Bil Gee above the other Wing Chun forms. So really it's got a whole range of extra really juicy applications with the elbow strike that are in this form. So that's just what that point is making. This is one of my favorite ones. There's some great sounding ones here. The Phoenix Eye Punch has no compassion. It's just great. It's just classic Chinese type martial arts phrase. So a Phoenix Eye Punch, in case you don't know, it's this kind of thing. So you've got that, instead of just a regular fist, you've got something sticking out in the end. The Wing Chun one is formed by basically squeezing on top. There are some where in other martial arts systems where you sort of put it in there, but anyway, it's in the Bil Gee. It's a really sort of nice little trick, little technique. So a lot of what the Bil Gee is little extra tricks or special techniques. So it's not the, oh my god, it's going to completely change my kung fu. If you know the tricks and the emergency techniques, and you know some of these, they're very cool, and they can totally surprise a beginner or an intermediate student. But there's nothing essentially magical about or particularly special about the content of the Bil Gee. Okay, and then we've got Fak Sao, Ginger Fist, and Guide Bridge. Their movements are closely coordinated and hard to defend and nullify. I think that's best following up with a practical video, to be honest, when we get around to doing the Bil Gee, because it's all about the techniques themselves. So we won't cover that one. Springy power and the extended arm are applied at close range. So this is a good one. Essentially, it's first of all, it's saying we're introducing a new type of force. So this kind of like springiness, which is in the other forms to a lesser extent, and then also the ability to rapidly change the length of the bridge. So going all the way from the tip of the fingers all the way to the elbow or shoulder very, very quickly, with a lot of spring and snap. That really is one of the knacks, and one of the sort of, I would say, the real sort of new power mechanics that you will get if you practice your Biu Jee consistently. So that's the magic, really. That's the thing that it'll offer you, is it'll give you all these really cool other types of force that you see in other types of martial arts. So things like loose heavy power, like Springy Jing, you know, all these kind of things. You know, all these slightly more sophisticated esoteric kung fu things you can train in the Biu Jee. So because they've got all these really not very Wing Chun-y type movements where you go from very far off center line, you know, so and way off your center to recover again and fold from all the way from the very extended point of the tip of the finger back to the elbow or shoulder. So so that's really the sort of the gong fu that you can develop doing this form. Okay, next one is a good one as well. The situation is different when preventing defeat in an emergency. So really, this is the other key point about the Biu Jee training: is the intention, is the mind, focusing the yi. Essentially, it's trying to get your mindset sorted. That, you know, training is different to fighting. You know, even sparring is different to fighting. Even doing very, very aggressive self-defense drills with proper intention is different to real fighting, and you're going to have to mentally prepare yourself for that. And some of the ways that you can do that are through a sort of a form of meditation in the form. So is to really put yourself in there and really work it through in advance. This actually works. So you know, a lot of people say, oh, you know, you can't ever prepare yourself for these situations. You won't know what's happening. That's nonsense. I call bullshit on that. So because if you look at a different situation, like a plane crash, right? The people that read the manual and think about it before, even casually, you know, they're sitting down in front of the doorway and they pick up the manual and they look at it for 10 seconds, or they actually, you know, this one time they decided to listen to the safety brief. Their reaction times, performance in drills and in real situations outperforms people that don't. So it's nothing to do with them having experience of it. It's all to do with them having basically done a form. They've sat there and thought it through. So, you know, this is shown to have real world impacts and changes, and this is, if you train correctly with the correct intention, with the correct mindset, you can improve your outcomes, and this is a very important point that is often overlooked. Okay, last couple now. The Biu Jee is not taught to outsiders. I'll do a whole video on the philosophy and the idea behind this. So, it's a combination of Confucian culture, wanting to keep the students hungry, and not wanting to give away your own, secrets and backdoors, especially to new people, right? Keep the tricks to the senior students, right? But you know, that's you know, I'll do a whole video about that, because it's a big cultural Wing Chun thing in particular, and it's kind of strange because I've never seen it in other martial arts. It's very peculiar to Wing Chun. And then the last one is a sort of a follow-on from this: is how many Shifus pass on the proper heritage. So again, Confucianism, stamp of approval there. Okay, good. All right, so those are the Biu Jee ones. I hope they enlighten you and give you, threatening 9-point death touch techniques once you've pondered them. Okay, best of luck with training, and see you next time.